James,
Governor,
how are you, man?
sorry about that. I'm very
I got
well.
this is my Colorado logo. When I became governor, we had a really bad old logo, so we picked this one. This happens to be the Colorado Department of Transportation.
Oh,
You can also tell I didn't shave today, Sunday.
right.
Um,
It's the weekend.
well, every this is like we were saying, like, every day is like phone calls and Zooms, and it's like Saturday is the new Monday around here. But how you doing? How are things in sunny California?
I'm doing well. I'm just trying to stay busy, which is why I started this interview series.
Well,
Um,
I felt a little guilty I didn't help you more for city council. I think I like endorsed you, but I don't think I sent you like $100, and I should have. So I'm sorry about that.
Seriously, believe me. I mean, just the fact that you've been so gracious over the years. This first time we're actually meeting face to face, but over the years, even when I was a teenager and I reached out to you about your congressional run, you were so kind to respond. And
So I don't know if you remember this, but the reason that why I remember you, because you're memorable, of course. But I remember the very first thing you did is you started like a Jared Polis for President like Facebook group when I was running for Congress. It was kind of embarrassing. I wasn't even old enough to be president because I think I was like 32 when I was running for Congress. But it's the kind of thing that somebody remembers.
oh, well, thank you. I mean, I've always been, even, when I came out when I was 14, I was just really passionate about politics. And when I first got involved, I thought, there was no way that you could be, involved in politics and be out at the same time. So to see somebody like you who, was trying to, blaze a trail for others, it meant the world to me. And so, yeah, I mean, what's incredible is not only are you the first gay governor in U.S. history, you also were the first non-incumbent openly gay man elected to Congress. Is that right?
Yeah, so and I was. A couple people asked, you can go fishing with your buddy. Yes, groups of up to 10 are allowed. Little Gia might make a cameo. That's our at first pup Gia. She's actually on Instagram more
Aw.
than me, James. So
Well,
yeah,
by the way, my roommate's dog is here, so if she makes a little noise, my apologies. But
does your roommate's dog have an Instagram account though?
no, we thought about it.
Yeah,
But I'll check out Gia. I'll have to check her
we'll
out.
see if at first pup Gia makes a cameo or not. So it was never really. Most people didn't care about my orientation when I ran. It was really more about what are you going to do for me? How are you going to fight for us? What are you going to do to save money on health care and create good jobs and all those usual issues? People just weren't focused at all on orientation.
Hmm. No, and I know that's never been something that you were focused on. It just was the fact that you happened to be an openly gay man running for Congress.
It's a little different than in West Hollywood, where if you are run for city council and you're straight, it's actually a big issue, right? Isn't the whole city council gay pretty much?
That's very true.
Yeah, I
Literally,
mean,
well,
when a
there are
straight
two
person
heterosexual
tries
women.
to run there, they need to keep themselves closeted most of the time, right? Let people assume they're bi.
Exactly, that's true. No, but I think of course, West Hollywood is a LGBT majority city, and of course, you're representing a state that where only 10% of the state is LGBT. So I understand. You've said you're a governor that represents everybody, essentially.
Yeah, and somebody asked about after school programming in schools. The schools are doing some work now. They're not open for regular classes for the end of the school year, but we're working on them and how they can get some summer programming in, and kids who need to are able to go to those schools. I'm just trying to react, James, to some of the things people are posting down below, but I'll go to your questions first. But somebody said I'm cute. They're going to make me blush. Oh my God. Boy, Becky, you should see me after I shave. I'm much more cute.
No, I like that you have some time to actually be casual. You don't always
Yeah.
have to be in a suit, which is
I'll
nice.
shave
But
tomorrow. I have my normal press briefing with everybody. So we just took little Gia and Marlon and we took her on a walk. We wear our masks and we go around the neighborhood once a day.
oh, fantastic! Yeah, no, I mean that's what I've been doing here. I mean, the one time I give myself each day to go out is I go on a long walk, put the mask on, maybe go to the grocery store.
Yep.
But so no, I wanted to ask you sort of more broadly, like what your routine has been like, because being a governor during something like this must be a really difficult and challenging, but just a unique experience. So I was curious if you could give people like a sense of what it's like to be in your shoes at the moment.
Well, like a lot of folks, I'm mostly working from home. I go into our emergency operations center or the Capitol or the governor's mansion. We do our press conferences really every other day. You probably, if you're missing those, you can follow me on Facebook, Jared Polis. We post them all there, just like a lot of governors are doing regular briefings. But, mostly I'm just in a world of, Zooms and webinars and phone calls. I mean, often multitasking, two at a time. Very productive. It's fun. Marlon and I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, so it's kind of fun being around them. I mean, I'll be on the phone, I'll be working, but it's kind of fun, being home more. And just trying to do as good as we can.
Absolutely. And but so you have the time to spend with your husband, or your partner, and your kids. Then you have the chance to have family time.
Well, it's tough. I often have like an earbud in, I'm on mute, and I'm like half paying attention to the family having dinner and half having to pipe in on my call. So, I mean, our whole team has been burning the candle at both ends it seems like forever, but it's been like a month and a half since this crisis has been with us. It'll be with us for the foreseeable future. We actually just said that my senior team, like my top people, my comms director, my chief of staff, we're going to require that they take 1 day off every 10 days because they've taken no days off in a month and a half. And we need our team to be refreshed and in this for the marathon. So over the next week, everybody's going to get 1 day off. So hopefully they'll be a little refreshed. Just no phones or anything. Somebody else will cover for them. And yeah, with your fishing in the state, this guy really wants to go fishing, which is great. It's spring. People want to fish. Groups of up to 10. So yes, you can go fishing with your buddy.
No, I think, I mean, thank you obviously for everything you're doing. And I can't imagine the stress and the, just the mental anxiety that, that must, and physical stress that it must be, not just for you, but for your staff as well. So please know.
Well, and it's a time of stress for everybody. I mean, folks who are social and like to go out or in their homes, people who don't know if jobs are going to be back there when they go back, folks who have COVID and are just worried it's going to get worse and they're going to have to go to the hospital, worried they might have given it to their parent or grandparent. I mean, there's just, the way I like to put it is, it's not a time for fear or anxiety, but it's a time for justified caution. We should all show caution, not anxiety, not fear. But let's just be cautious out there, and let's do our best to keep others safe. Wear masks when we go out. Stay home when we can. If you work, go to work, come home. Shop if you need to. By all means, do what you need to do. But let's be careful. Let's be smart.
Yeah, I saw that you loosened the stay-at-home order several days ago, and I saw that retail stores are part of that, hair salons, but restaurants are not. And so. So I know each state is different.
So
restaurants
are not yet open. They are in like one or two parts.
Yeah.
Working on the guidelines for restaurants. They're open in at least one part of our state, Mesa County, Grand Junction area. They wanted to move ahead. There might be some other areas that open soon. But when they do open, and by the way, they've had curbside delivery the whole time. I think they have in California too, right, James? Curbside delivery, and you can do DoorDash or whatever. Yeah, so you can order in. But now we're trying to figure out the plan for how they can allow at least some people back onto the premises, even if it's like half capacity. We'd love to get them open by mid-month, really as soon as we can.
Oh, really? Mid-month? Wow. Okay.
That's our goal. I mean, we just have to see where the virus is and where the date is. I mean, it could be the end. It could be June 1st. As I said, there's a couple cities where they're already open. It could also be regional in our state. We're a pretty big state, not as big as California, but we're a big, diverse state. So restaurants will probably open in some areas before they open up in some of the hotspot areas. Weddings, so people can get married. Of course, people are getting married. You can get legally married. You can have a religious marriage. The part that you can't do yet is the big celebration, right? So people can't have the 150 people. There's no date for that yet. I know people want to get married. We want to give that guidance as soon as we can, but nothing should hold up the actual marriage. It's really just you have to delay the ceremony for a little while until it's safe.
Absolutely. And I know one concern that people are having is, if or when we may see a second wave. Are you concerned about that? Do you think that's
I mean, this is still with us the whole time. So as soon as we let down our guard, that's why we've got to keep up the social distancing as people go back to work. They go back to doing the things they love. Got to stay focused on staying away from others, wearing masks when we're in public. A number of cities in Colorado are requiring it. Somebody wants to do a cooking show with me and my kiddos. I don't know about that, but we'll see. So county courthouses should be functional in all places. That means they're doing their work virtually. In fact, I signed a waiver that allows the marriage certificates to be done virtually in Colorado, but the county courthouses are at least functional. Many of them are doing their work online. There's been no evictions in Colorado for April or May. They'll resume in June for people who haven't been paying their rent. So yeah, trying to help people through this period. It's hard everywhere. It's hard whether you're in California, Colorado, New York, Texas, or if you're in, anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. I mean, this is just a difficult time for humanity, but it just as it's a difficult time, it's also going to bring out what's best in all of us. And we're just seeing all these great acts of people that are helping others, that are bringing groceries to their elderly neighbors so they don't have to go out. Just all of these kind and wonderful acts that people are doing to get us through this.
Thank you very much for the moratorium on evictions, because obviously West Hollywood here in California, 80% of our city is tenants. So it's a really difficult issue, particularly in urban areas, obviously. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and somebody asked about why the county government isn't working. Different counties are doing different things. I don't control those as governor. People know that. Call your commissioners. The state government's fully functional, meaning we have about 70% of our folks telecommuting, and we're able to get done everything the state does with the 70% telecommuting. So that'll probably go down to about 60% telecommuting in the next week or two. But we're gonna keep that up just so our state workers are safe, and everything we can do through telephone or virtually, we're thrilled to do it because we can provide that same level of service.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go back a little bit to your political career, because I know that your background is actually in tech and in business. And so I was curious, I know you first ran for the State Board of Education in 2000 when you were how old? Your early 20s?
Yeah, I think I was 25 or 26 when I ran. How old were you when you first ran?
22.
Yeah,
22.
So you're even younger than me.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I ran for school board, and I served 6 years on the State Board of Education. I started some charter schools and was superintendent of a charter school that worked with new immigrants, helps them learn English. It's called New America School. It's in Colorado and New Mexico. And that was, school boards are part-time, so I was still in business during that time. And then in 2008, I really wanted to get back to our country, which I've just been so fortunate to be an American, and this country has been so great to me and my family. I ran for Congress and had the honor of serving our country for 10 years in the United States Congress.
I see. And so your motivation, I take it, was you weren't
Hey,
really
so somebody
necessarily...
says we all both look sick. In your young folks speak, is that a compliment? Does looking sick mean we look good, or does it mean I look ill? You got to tell me here, James. Is it a compliment, or are they telling me we look
fine? I mean,
You Instagram people, I mean, when you say we look sick, I don't know. Does that mean we look awesome, or does it mean we look ill?
Well, right. No, that maybe that's what he means, actually. Or if
let's just read it as looking awesome. Like, you look sick, man, okay? This is Instagram. This is Instagram after all, right?
Exactly.
So anyway, getting back to going to Congress, what were you going to say?
No, so I take it then that it sounds like your motivation wasn't necessarily that you wanted to run for office. It was that education was an issue that was important to you, and that's what got you into running for office in the first place.
It was. I really was firsthand frustrated with, it was called No Child Left Behind at the time, and one of the main reasons I ran for Congress was to go on the Education Committee to rewrite the federal education law. And I got to do that. That's one of the reasons I left Congress after a decade. Was my 8th or 9th year there. We got to write the Every Student Succeeds Act, which replaced No Child Left Behind, which had a lot of pieces to it that I got to author. There were bills that I wrote that were incorporated in that bill, which was really cool. So, I also got to work on a lot of other great issues. It was just really such a great honor to do that. I never really thought I'd be governor. I always wanted to
ask, what made you decide to run for governor after 10 years in Congress? Were you just fed up with Washington?
Well, there was that. I mean, I always could have done another term or two, but it was great to be back home with our kids. Commuting every week is difficult. And I love Colorado. And I hope that once this is all passed, you and your friends will visit Colorado. We have, world-class mountain areas, ski resorts, hiking, biking, fishing, you name it. Great place. It's just a very special place. And I wanted to do more hands-on work, improving our schools. That's about a big part of what the state works on, and improving our higher education facilities, and just rolling up my sleeves and working on so many of these issues that affect our quality of life here in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. And I know you said that LGBT or being the first gay governor was not something that you were really all that, you weren't thinking about it all that much. But it's pretty amazing that the first openly LGBTQ, or not openly LGBTQ, Kate Brown is bisexual, I believe, but the first gay governor, was that, did you think about the fact that Colorado, having had a very sort of difficult history when it came to gay rights and to, it's a very culturally conservative state in general. Did that in particular have some meaning to you?
I wouldn't really call it necessarily culturally conservative. It's very much just do your own thing, very independent kind of minded. People don't stick their nose in other people's businesses very often. People just respect you for who you are and what you do.
No, I know,
I
but
mean,
like
it's
with the the proposition that was on the ballot in the '90s, and
yeah,
I mean, it's
Amendment
definitely
Two.
not culturally conservative anymore, necessarily. You know, it's
So, I
pretty.
mean, I think it's good whenever a ceiling is broken, whenever, somebody of color is elected to a position that's never had that, or a woman or an LGBT person. I think it really helps show, you know, people across the country that that's something that they can aspire to, that they're part of this country. So I certainly hope that, by being elected governor, there's still parts of Colorado and there's parts of the country where it's tough to be a gay kid, right?
Mhm.
And people, who might not be accepted by their peers, even by their families, can say, you know what, I could go on to be successful in business or run for office, whatever I want to do in life. Just who I love isn't going to hold me back, and I think that's an important message for everybody. And it's great to see people of different races, genders, orientations, identities getting elected to office in around the world. Around the world. In Colorado, we also elected our first transgender state legislator, Brianna Titone, who's doing an amazing job representing Jefferson County in the state legislature. So a lot of barriers are being broken, and what matters is your ideas, the content of your character, the work you're going to do for voters, the work you're going to do to make our society better. And voters are willing to look to that. They're not focused on who you are, who you love.
I loved one of the things that I loved was when you made your victory speech. You made reference to the fact that your partner would become the first man in U.S. history. So not only are you the first openly gay governor, we have for the first time an openly gay spouse of a governor. And I just want to say how much I admire Marlon and the work that he's done for animal welfare and the environment. And are you a vegan or vegetarian?
Marlon's vegan, and you can follow him on Facebook at First Gentleman Marlon Reese. He does a lot of animal welfare work. That's his cause, and yeah, it's the family's doing great. It's a little bit of an adjustment, obviously, for me. I don't have to go back and forth to Washington every week, but really, it's great to be able to do what we can for Colorado, and Marlon's really doing an amazing job as First Gentleman.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, talk about a quiet revolutionary thing that we finally have that kind of representation in state government. But so also, I want to talk to you. I imagine that pretty much every day you're having conversations with other governors, and I'm assuming with President Trump. What has it been like working with him throughout this crisis?
Yeah, we work together with all of our regional governors. I talk to the governor of Wyoming and Kansas and New Mexico pretty regularly. Colorado is more formally part of the group of like Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada. We're doing a lot of information sharing. Calls with the White House, CDC, Vice President, pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. National Governors Association. So a lot of communicating. We're learning from each other, but we're also competing with one another. I mean, we're trying to buy, PPE masks. We're trying to buy tests, and we don't want other states to get them out from under us or FEMA to get them out from under us. So we've been pretty effective. We got 100,000 tests in from South Korea. We're ramping that up rapidly in Colorado. We've delivered hundreds of thousands of masks to our nursing home facilities and medical centers, and just doing what we can to keep people safe and get through this difficult time.
I saw the story about how you had to hide the 100,000 masks because you were concerned that they would be seized by the federal government. Is that right?
Yeah, so the governor of Maryland actually hid theirs. We just didn't talk about it until they arrived. So no word about what we were doing until we knew they were here. We were worried about that, of course. So yeah, it's a challenging time. Hope the federal government learns from this, and next time around, God forbid, next time around, plays a better coordinating role in helping to take this on. Somebody asked about our leadership team. I'm really proud, James, that for the first time in Colorado history, a majority of my cabinet are women. So
Wow.
a majority of my cabinet, almost 60% are women. And of course, we have great ethnic diversity as well, Latino, LGBT, African American, Asian American. We try to have a cabinet that looks like Colorado.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I know your lieutenant governor is a woman also. She's I assume she's
Yes,
part of the
absolutely.
cabinet. Yeah. Is President Trump? Do you feel that he's done a good job throughout this crisis, or what is it like in terms of what you're expecting from the federal
Well,
government?
it's frustrating. Obviously, I think we all wish we had a more effective president right now, but it's the president we have rather than the president we wish we have. We'll all have the chance to change that in November. But for now, we're doing everything we can to work with him and his team. Obviously work with Vice President Pence, who's a lot more hands-on in coordinating this and was a former governor himself. So, we're doing everything we can here to get through this.
I know your priority probably is, or definitely isn't politics at the moment, but have you formally endorsed Vice President Biden yet? or are you planning to?
Yeah, I mean, I support Joe Biden. I mean, I stayed out of it during the primary. I said I'd be proud to support the nominee. I like, Elizabeth Warren. I like Joe Biden,
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders. I like, Cory Booker. I liked some of my friends were running initially, which is one of the reasons I stayed out. So, like the people who were in Congress, Beto O'Rourke and John Delaney and Tulsi Gabbard are kind of friends of mine. So I didn't want to not endorse them, so I stayed out. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy. They're all great. We're all looking to see who Joe picks for his vice president. But how can you not like Uncle Joe Biden? I mean, he's just he's a legend. He's pretty cool. So I'll be thrilled to vote for him in November.
What did you
Beto,
think
yeah,
about?
somebody says Beto. I love Beto. Beto's awesome.
Right. No, and I'm sure you knew a lot of the candidates, considering you were in Washington for a long, and Vice President Biden. What did you make of Mayor Pete's campaign? Were you?
Oh, I love Mayor Pete. Yeah, how can I forget Mayor Pete? Yeah, Mayor Pete was obviously one of my favorites. So I was actually going to vote for him, and then he dropped out before the Colorado primary. Mayor Pete.
Oh, really? You were going to vote for him?
Yeah, Pete's great. I've gotten to know Pete and Chasten a little bit during this process. I knew him a little. I'd met him once or twice before. It's great. I mean, just to show that, a gay man could win the Iowa caucus. I mean, wow, right? Like, absolutely incredible, especially overcoming these candidates like Bernie and Joe Biden, who had spent years building this machine, right? Like, I mean, like, Bernie was like Mr. Iowa, like, and Joe Biden had been known for, like, somehow this great, charismatic, smart, young candidate with a vision for our country, a unifying vision, just came forward, and I think all those folks like Pete will have a great place in the Biden administration. He has a bright future ahead of him. Who knows? He may even be president someday. But I've been very impressed with him.
Well, I know. Hopefully, let's pray Vice President Biden wins in November. But whether it's in 2024 or 2028, I hope you do think about running for president one day, because I think you're a remarkable leader, and you're already doing such an amazing job in Colorado.
Well, thank you, James, as we sign off. But I don't want to do that. I love Colorado. I'm just really happy to be back here, honestly. And I think, after 10 years in Congress and 4 to 8 years as governor, I've given back quite a bit, and it'll be a fun time to spend a few years with my family and hopefully enjoy a Colorado that through our efforts of our team, we hopefully made a little bit better. But I want to thank you, James, for bringing this show out to the public and finally getting me to log on to Instagram, because I had not done it. Like, the Facebook account and Twitter account on my staff had always run my Instagram account. I'm like, oh, I'll do it someday. So now I did this Instagram. It didn't bite. It was fine. Like, it was all good. It's all cool.
Well, I know it was a lot of back and forth. I apologize.
No, it's cool. And I want to thank all the viewers who joined us. And I want to thank you for doing this. This was a fun interview. And someday we'll get to meet when you're in Colorado or I'm in WeHo or whatever. We'll have to hang out in person. But in the meantime, tell all your friends and followers, stay safe, wear masks when you're out. We're going to get through this together. And we're going to get this done. And there'll be a day, whether it's in a few months or whenever that is, when we can all embrace one another and be in public and hug one another and all be together with this. So I want to thank you and thank all your followers as well for making this a fun interview.
Thank you, Governor. And yes, hopefully see you in person soon.
Yeah, thanks. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.